Hello students, let us continue with the population growth models. Density of a population is never static. It is either expanding, declining, or it is going to remain stable. The density of a population is measured by counting the death rate, that is natality, then birth rate, natality, death rate, mortality, immigrants added to the population, emigrants which are deleted from the population. When you consider a population living in a particular habitat in a given time period, and if that population tends to increase continuously in its density by increasing its natality, by decreasing its mortality, then it gives exponential growth. If you plot this graph considering growth rate and the time period, we will get J-shaped curve. Means initially the population inhabiting in a particular habitat uses reproductive ability R in a given time period, and available resources, they are become favorable, so it tends to increase continuously. So initially there is a slow growth and suddenly there is increase in the growth rate. It indicates that population is growing exponentially, but practically it is not possible for all the populations. So there is one more growth model studied. It is known as logistic growth model. This growth model shows that whenever any organism start residing in a particular habitat, and if you consider the time period for its growth of the population, then initially that organism try to adapt, uses reproductive ability R, it is inherent or intrinsic ability of every organism, and using available favorable conditions and the resources, it increases its reproductive ability. It is known as positive acceleration, and that's why new members are added and the population density goes on increasing, indicating exponential phase. But if carrying capacity of the ecosystem is limited, if available resources start decreasing, if competition start increasing, then every population show negative acceleration, and then the growth of the population becomes steady. Here, considering carrying capacity K, reproductive ability R, and available resources in a given time period, then when you plot a graph considering growth rate and the given time period, we obtain S-shaped curve. It is called sigmoid curve. It indicates the population start growing slowly. It takes positive acceleration, show log phase, and till the conditions are favorable, it tends to increase, and suddenly there is a decline in the growth rate, and then the population size becomes steady. This is the practically accepted growth model. So here, both the growth models we need to consider exponential growth and logistic growth. In logistic growth, we are considering carrying capacity of the habitat. In exponential growth, carrying capacity is not considered. In both the growth models, reproductive ability R is intrinsic ability of organism to go on adding the number using its ability. So thus, this session indicates two growth models. Coming to the next, the most important part of organisms and population is discussion on population interactions. Basically, there are two types of interactions we can see in the ecosystem or in a given habitat. Positive interaction, where the species or population interacting with each other, they never undergo loss. While in negative acceleration, either single species is undergoing loss and another species is benefited, or both the species will undergo the loss. So whenever the loss is found in the interaction, we call negative interaction, and whenever benefit is added, then it is called positive interaction. Under negative interaction, the first is predation. Predation is an interaction between predator and the prey. Predator who is killing the prey and prey who is killed by the predator. Predator size is always big than the prey, but number of the predator organisms are less compared to the prey. If we consider predator is not there in the ecosystem, then prey population tends to increase and it results into competition among them, and automatically the growth rate collapses. While if prey population is not there, predator without food, they undergo starvation resulting into death. So this interaction is required in the habitat to control the population of both predator and prey. Coming to the next interaction, it is known as parasitism. Parasite, who is always under benefit, completes its life cycle always living on the host body or in the host body. Host is always under loss. Host can survive without parasite, but parasite unable to complete its life cycle without host. There are different types of parasitism we can see around us. If we consider Loranthus plant, it is a epiphyte growing on the large tree, will take only support and absorb the water from the large trees. It has tiny leaves, so it can prepare its own food material. So it is partial parasitism. It comes under ectoparasitism. While Cuscuta is a chlorophyllous plant, twine around the clerodendron plant, which is the host body. These Cuscuta plants will produce hosteria. These are parasitic roots to suck food and water from the host. This is total parasitism. So under ectoparasitism, these are the two examples. Ectoparasitism, which is partial. Ectoparasitism, it is total. Endoparasitism is observed, either it is intracellular or intercellular. Epiparasitism, where A is a parasite depends on the host B, B is a parasite depend on the host C, C is a parasite depends on the host D. Like this, a chain of parasites we can see, and the chain of host in the environment. If we consider mesoparasitism, these parasites are digenetic, like Plasmodium vivax, who uses mosquito as a primary host and human as secondary host to complete asexual and sexual reproduction, and it continuously circulated in these two host bodies. So it is digenetic parasite. There is one more parasitism, it is known as brood parasitism or kleptoparasitism, where the cuckoo bird will lay the eggs in the nest built up by the crow. The cuckoo bird just lay the eggs in the crow nest and fly away, while the crow is taking care of the cuckoo eggs without its knowledge. Thus, cuckoo bird is fooling the crow in this brood parasitism. Apart from these three interactions, there is one more, it is known as competition, where two populations interacting with each other for the common resources. For most of the times, both the populations are not undergoing benefit, rather they are undergoing loss. Thus, today's session I will conclude by learning negative interactions in the populations in the given habitat in a given time. Thank you very much.